Imagine walking into a restaurant, the air buzzing with chatter, laughter, and the clinking of glasses. Suddenly, the room goes silent. All eyes turn to a man in a sharp suit, his voice echoing as he yells at a young waitress. But then, she says one sentence, just one, that leaves even the billionaire speechless and freezes the entire restaurant. What could she have said? And why did it change everything? Stay with me, because this story will touch your heart in ways you'll never forget. Amelia was 22, juggling 2 jobs to support her younger brother after their parents passed away in a car accident. She worked mornings at a local bookstore and nights as a waitress in a bustling fine dining restaurant. Tired but resilient, she never showed her struggles to customers. She smiled, took orders, and carried heavy trays as if they were nothing compared to the burden on her heart. The restaurant was always full of wealthy clients, bankers, lawyers, CEOs, and people who never worried about rent or groceries. Amelia often wondered what it would be like to live with that kind of freedom, yet she never resented them. She only wished she could provide her brother, Daniel, with a stable home and maybe even let him go back to school without worrying about money. One Friday night, the restaurant was packed. It was payday, and Amelia felt the fatigue in her bones, but she powered through. That was the night a man walked in who would change her life forever. The man was none other than Richard Hale, a billionaire known across the city for his ruthless business tactics and towering presence. His name alone made executives nervous, but in person, he was even more intimidating. He walked in wearing an expensive suit, surrounded by assistants and bodyguards. People whispered his name, afraid to even look at him directly. Amelia, nervous but professional, approached his table with a polite smile. She asked what he'd like to order. But Richard was already in a foul mood. He had lost a major deal earlier that day, something he wasn't used to. When Amelia accidentally placed the wrong appetizer on the table, he snapped. "You call this service?" Richard's voice boomed through the restaurant. "Do you even know how to do your job? Or are you just another lazy, uneducated nobody?" The restaurant fell silent. Everyone froze, forks halfway to their mouths. Amelia stood there, trembling, humiliated in front of strangers. Her hands shook, but her eyes lifted to meet his. Something inside her broke free, the years of struggle, the endless shifts, the loneliness, the exhaustion. She took a deep breath and said one sentence. "Sir," Amelia said softly, but firmly enough for everyone to hear, "you can yell at me all you want, but at least I still remember how to be human." The words hit like thunder. The entire restaurant went completely still. Glasses stopped clinking, conversations died, and every eye locked on Richard Hale. His face turned pale, not from anger, but from something he hadn't felt in years, shame. Amelia didn't break her gaze. Her voice, though gentle, carried the weight of her truth. "People like me, we serve you, we clean up after you, we work until our bodies ache. Not because we're lazy, but because we have people we love to take care of. Maybe the difference between us is that you have money, and I still have compassion." The billionaire's mouth opened, then closed. For once, he had no words. He was the man who silenced boardrooms with his authority, but in this moment, a waitress had silenced him with her honesty. The restaurant erupted, not in laughter, not in whispers, but in quiet respect for Amelia. Strangers smiled at her. Some even clapped softly. Richard, however, stared at her as if seeing something he hadn't seen in years, a reflection of the man he used to be before greed hardened him. Later that night, Richard stayed behind after everyone left. To Amelia's shock, he asked her to sit with him. For the first time, the man who barked orders spoke with humility. "Do you know why your words struck me?" he said quietly. "Because once, a long time ago, I was just like you. My mother worked 2 jobs, serving people who looked down on her. I promised myself I'd never be poor again. But in chasing money, I forgot her lessons. I forgot what it meant to be human." Tears welled in Amelia's eyes, not out of pity, but out of recognition. For the first time, she saw him not as a monster in a suit, but as a broken man who had lost his way. Richard asked about her life, and she told him everything, about Daniel, about her struggles, about her dreams of one day opening her own cafe. The billionaire listened quietly, then did something no one expected. He offered her a chance. Not a handout, but an opportunity. He funded her dream, helped her set up her own small cafe, and even gave Daniel a scholarship for his studies. But more importantly, Richard began to change. He visited Amelia's cafe often, not as a billionaire, but as a man rediscovering compassion. And so, one night, in a crowded restaurant, a billionaire yelled at a waitress. But with one sentence, she didn't just freeze the room, she thawed a frozen heart. Sometimes, it only takes a single act of courage, a single moment of truth, to remind someone of what truly matters. Money can build empires, but compassion can rebuild souls. So the next time you feel small, unheard, or overlooked, remember Amelia's words. They might just be the ones that change everything.